Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do a new microphone setup shootout and to go from there. I'm going to make some changes that I've never done before with microphone shootouts because I feel like the way I've been doing it before doesn't really tell you much about the microphone. And the way I'm going to do it now, you're definitely going to hear the differences much more extreme. And I'll tell you what the few things that I've done. The first thing is we're not going to do passages anymore. I used to be like, oh, Rich, the quick brown fox jumped over to the lazy dog. That does nothing. Who gives a shit? Okay, it's better if we have just variants in passages and different things for each microphone. So with each microphone, it's just going to be me talking. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you hear that, that's the window open. You hear that, birds and everything? That's basically, I don't care. I'm just going to record where I'm not going to be treating around like around. I want you just to hear exactly as it is so you can tell which microphone is picking up all that side and which one isn't. So you're definitely going to know what's picking up more around you. Number 3, I'm also going to do something a little different. So I'm just going to give you commentary about the microphone. I usually never used to do this before, but now I'm just going to who cares? I'll just talk about it. All right, so let's talk about the SE4100. This microphone is awesome. For $250, this is, in my opinion, one of the best sounding microphones for the money. And this goes toe to toe, in my opinion, with like $500 microphones, with $1,000 microphones. Like, I actually prefer the sound of this over the TLM 103. I think this sounds better than the MKH416. I think this sounds like it's a really great sounding microphone, and I think this is actually endgame. You could buy this microphone and you could be done. You don't need anything else. This is it. That's the first microphone. Let's go to the next microphone. All right, so this is the 512 warm Skylight. You can find this for around $45 or so. So I actually don't like this microphone because it can sound cottonmouthy on my voice, but it's certainly at a great price of $45. And yeah, I would say the mids are pretty cranked up on this though. So it can sound a little bit cottonmouthy at times, but yeah, this is how it sounds. All right, so this microphone is the Neewer 700. I love this microphone because it's sort of a meme. Sometimes you need to hear what bad is to know what bad is. And this is a bad sounding mic, pretty tinny. I mean, if you like it, you'll like it, but the microphone doesn't lie. This is pretty bad sounding. You'd find this for $20. All right, so here is the King B version 1. I bought this for $99, and this was one of my favorite microphones, and it still is. It's kind of a V-shaped tonality to it, and this is how it sounds. I actually like this better than the version 2, which came out. All right, so here's the Neat Worker B version 2, and as you can see, it doesn't have the B motif on it. So this microphone you can find for $69, and in my opinion, this is a really good microphone. So here's my commentary that I'm going to add about the Neat Worker B. All right, so this is the Neumann TLM 102. So first off, this is around $800. So the problem with that is that it is very close to the $1,000 microphones, right? So, and I think those are better than this. But then you may say, well, what if you get this at a discount? What if you buy this used? Still, I don't think it's actually worth the money because let me work it out with you. The SE4100 is like $250 or so. That sounds just as good, if not better than this. The Shure KSM32 is cheaper than this. It sounds better than this, in my opinion. That said, this is a good sounding microphone. I just think it's really overpriced for what it is. I think it's true price if you can get it. You should probably get it around $300 to $400, but I definitely wouldn't buy this at $800. It's not a fair price for that. So that's my 2 cents regarding that. But all right, so this is the Blue Mouse. This microphone is discontinued. This microphone is featured in that one show. I remember they were eating like hot dogs and doing like shootouts with microphones. With hot dogs. It's a popular show. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, this is a great sounding microphone. All right, so this is the Neumann TLM 103. As you can see, all the windows and everything are wide open, but as you can see, it's very sensitive. It picks up everything around you. It is an extremely sensitive microphone. This microphone it's featured in a lot of anime studios and things like that, and it's a industry standard. But I don't like the sound of this microphone. I think it's just a little too bright for my voice, and it's just way too sensitive. You need to be in a bulletproof freaking, fully treated studio for this to sound anywhere close to good. All right, so this is the Neumann U87. This is a industry standard microphone, often used in many studios. So this, in my opinion, is pretty overpriced, but I keep getting pushback saying the reason why this is an expensive microphone at $36.95 is because it's very versatile. It works on almost everybody. If there's 500 people walking into a studio, all 500 of them will sound okay. All right, so this is the Austrian OC18. This is gonna give you the same sound in cardioid mode as the Austrian OC818. I like this microphone. I think it sounds really smooth. It's kind of like the alternative you choose if you don't like the Neumann TLM 103. This is one of those, but they sound quite different. This is a little bit warmer and smoother, a little bit more warmer compared to the TLM 103. And I actually like this microphone. I think it sounds really great. So again, the Austrian OC18. All right, so this is the Audio Technica AT 2020. This is technically a beginner XLR microphone, about $99, and this is how it sounds. To me, I find that on most folks, this can sound a little scratchy, and also it is a little bit, this has quite a bit of self-noise as far as microphones go. All right, so this is the Mackie EM91C. This is a $45 microphone. So there are a few major flaws with this microphone. So it can get noisy, but I do find that this is one of the cheaper options that gives you a warm tonality. Usually with microphones, you don't really see a warm sounding microphone, no pun intended, till around the $300 mark. Just note that, it gets noisy, and just note that it does soft clip, as in like if you yell really loud on this, like even though you put your gain all the way down, it will distort, right? So just note that, but this would be great for like someone who's looking for kind of like a warm kind of sound for like an audiobook and they've got less than $100. You could do a lot worse. So this is the Mackie EM91C. All right, so this is the CL101 by Toping. I've never actually seen them make I've never seen them make a microphone before, and so this is the first time I've seen a microphone from them, and it actually is pretty good. Like this is around $159, and I would take this over the Rode NT1 5th Gen. This has a little bit more low end compared to the NT1 5th Gen, and this is a little bit more V-shaped, but the bass and the low end is a little bit more pronounced. But I think this actually sounds pretty good. It's a good mic. It's a good mic at $159 for sure. I think it sounds good. So, all right. So this is the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure. To my ears, this microphone can get a little sharp, but I'm listening with the MDR M1, and that can accentuate some of the treble. But to me, this microphone is a little bright slanted, and this works better for someone who has a deeper voice. Okay, so here's the Oktava MK 319, and this is how the audio sounds. So there are a few things you should know about this microphone that might be helpful to know. Number one is there's a mic Jolly mod, which basically changes the sound and makes it sound better. Some people have a modified version of the MK319. Second of all, there is a tutorial showing how you can modify this microphone. Now, currently, this microphone, I have it stock. This is exactly how it sounds. There is a problem with the basket. It just sounds, like not good. Third of all, this microphone requires a lot of gain. And I actually thought something was wrong with my microphone, but I actually bought another Oktava MK319, and it discovered pretty much it requires a lot of gain. So that's normal. Just don't worry about it. That's just how it sounds. All right, so this is the Electronics SE X1A. I don't like this microphone, but if I had to describe the sound of what this sounds like, it almost makes me sound a little bit younger. Like it kind of gets like it just like slightly higher pitched. It's like at least on my voice, so it makes me sound a little bit younger, and I don't like it. But versus other microphones, kind of give me this to it. You know what I mean? This doesn't have that. Now you may prefer that depending on what you want, but for me, I don't like it. But this is the SE Electronics SE X1A. All right, so this is the Audio Technica AT4040. Just note, like I said, the windows are open, and I can hear most of the wind outside, so I think this is a pretty sensitive microphone. Anyway, this is how it sounds. I personally don't like this microphone, but I think it's a good data point or a good reference point. But this is how it sounds. The Audio Technica AT4040. Microphone check, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, so this is the PROAR 414. If I'm not mistaken, this microphone is actually discontinued or currently discontinued, probably due to supplier issues. It's becoming a thing with microphones these days. But this is actually, in my opinion, this sounds really good. Like, especially for, like, you could find this for like $69. And I swear, man, you can listen to this and like go click on some $200. All right, so this is the Audio Technica AT 2035. This is the microphone that I well, many people recommend you get this instead of the AT2020. It's only a $50 differential, but in my opinion, it's not as noisy in terms of self-noise for the AT2020. Also, it has a little bit more low end. It's less scratchy compared to the AT2020. And in my opinion, this is actually the line of it's good. Like, as in, like, the very minimum I would say, like, this is a good microphone. Or you might even say great. But in my opinion, this is the point where I'm like, yeah, no, that's good. You're good to go. So definitely recommend the AT2035. Get this over the AT2020 if at all possible. All right, so this is the Stellar X2 Vintage, not to be confused with the Stellar X2, which is a different sound from this, and the Stellar X2 or X3. So I got this microphone. Actually, it was on a blowout sale. It was like around, they sold it for like $69 or something like that, so I just bought it. I do think this microphone is actually pretty overpriced at its regular price. I would argue that at its regular retail price, if you want a warm tonality, go for the Warm 47 Junior instead. If you are looking for a little bit more brighter, then go for honestly, just go for the freaking SE4100 instead. I don't think this is actually good value for the money when it comes to sound, but all right, so this is the PROAR Fangdong. I have a love-hate relationship with this microphone. I actually feel like in terms of tonality and the way it sounds, it's really, really good. But the only thing I don't like about this, and I just want to make sure you guys are aware of this, is that when you listen with your headphones, there is this tss all the way through, every single time. No matter what headphone I use, no matter what audio interface I use, it's a noisy microphone, but I don't know if that's getting into the final recording or whether that's just what it is. But I think the mic self-noise on here is a little bit botched. But the tuning of this is actually at the level of what I've seen at, like, warmer sounding microphones, which are in the $300 range. But this is a really great sounding microphone, easy to fix with just a little bit of RX elements. But out the box, it does have this hiss in the background, so just be aware of that. Alrighty, so this is the Blue Ember. Currently, this microphone is on sale for $39. You got to keep in mind, the MXL 990, MXL 770, AT 2020, like these are all like $100. This is $39, and this is how it sounds. There are three main flaws with this microphone, though, just so I want to be honest with you. The first is the shock mount. Because of how it's built, you have to probably get your own, it won't work with any particular shock mount. It will only work with certain ones. Number two, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can hear it in my headphones, but there's this kind of sound that's kind of going with this microphone. So that might be an issue. Number three, this microphone can sound slightly like, it lacks clarity at times, not all the time, but sometimes you'll edit and it lacks a little bit of clarity. But aside from that, this is pretty damn good for $39 in my opinion. All right, so here is audio from the MXL 990, and this is how the audio sounds. For me, I personally think this microphone sounds pretty bad. It just sounds really brittle and harsh and bright. So I wouldn't recommend this for anybody, but this is how it sounds. If it sounds like I'm clipping, I'm actually not. Sometimes it just does that. It's just a really kind of a bleh mic. So I wouldn't recommend this. I would say, especially at this price of $100, there are definitely better options out there. All right, so this is the MXL 770, and this is how it sounds. Technically, this microphone actually doesn't sound that bad, but it actually starts to have problems when you start editing it. I can't explain it, but like it doesn't handle compression very well. It doesn't handle like a lot of it. I wouldn't recommend it, but you might like it. But this is better for my voice compared to the MXL 990. All right, so here is the Shure KSM32, and this is how the audio sounds. In my opinion, this is actually one of the more smoother microphones that are out there, and it sounds really good. I love the way it sounds. Back then, this microphone was actually heavily discounted. Like, you could go to reverb.com and you could find this for like $250 pretty easily. Though when I look today, I'm noticing that the price has gone up quite a bit, around $500 to $600 now, so pretty rough. But this was, in my opinion, one of my favorite microphones, and I absolutely love it. So yeah. All right, so this is the CAD Equitech E100s. So a long time ago, I heard about this microphone from Boot Junkie, and this microphone, I was like, holy crap. Now that I've had this microphone for a while and I've tested other microphones, I think this actually suits more deeper voiced folks, but this is actually a really great sounding microphone. All right, so this is the CAD E100SX, not to be confused with the CAD E100S. At the time when this was released, people were thinking that this was the E100s at a massive discount, because you could sometimes find this for like $69 anywhere to $150. So this is just a warmer slanted version of the CAD E100s is the best way to think about it. Kind of like, it's just warmer. So now, if you do click on the high pass filter button, which I'm going to click on right now, and this is how it sounds like, then it makes it sound a little bit brighter and makes it closer to the sound of the CAD E100s, if that's what you're looking for. But this is how it sounds. Microphone check, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so this is the Warm 47 Junior, and this is how it sounds. I absolutely love this microphone. This microphone has a more of a warm tonality to it. This is Warm's Lightning in a Bottle. This was the one microphone they did which blew it out the park. Rumor has it that the engineer who worked with them on this microphone has since left, and so microphones haven't quite been the same since. That's just a rumor. I'm not sure if it's true, but what I can tell you is this is absolutely a great sounding microphone at $299. They also have the one where you only get cardioid for $199, which honestly, everybody just does only cardioid anyway, so that is a steal. You should absolutely get that. All right, so this is the Blue Baby Bottle. This is the non-SL version. So this particular version is discontinued. This microphone is quite woolly, quite warm. This microphone by itself, I think it sounds good, but when I go back and I listen to other microphones, it definitely starts to really sound woolly by comparison. But when you hear it by itself, I'm like, whoa, that sounds good. Anyway, this is the Blue Baby Bottle. All right, so this is the Warm 87 Junior SE, and this is, again, different from the Warm 47 Junior. So just a few notes you should know about this. So this sounds nothing like a Neumann U87. The Neumann U87 has a lot more low end and a little bit more warmth. It's just bright, slanted. You're not going to get just think of this as like not too far off from like a Rode NT1 5th Gen. It's very bright-ish. All right, so this is the Rode NT1 4th Gen. It's the black version, not to be confused with the NT1 5th Gen or the NT1 Signature Edition or the NT1A. So this microphone, in my opinion, is the smoothest out of those. And it's very hard to tell on YouTube with YouTube compression. This is something where like I've just noticed, like when I'm wearing headphones and I'm listening and monitoring, it is very clear as day when I listen to it that the NT1 4th Gen is smoother. But when it goes through compression and everything like that, it gets very hard to tell. Like I honestly could tell, like it sounds much closer in YouTube. But I'm trying to tell you, the NT1 4th Gen is smoother. All right, so this is the Rode NT1 5th Gen, also the Rode NT1 Signature Edition. So yeah, when I actually listen with my headphones, this is a little bit brighter, but it may be harder to tell on YouTube with YouTube compression, but in my opinion, the Rode NT1 4th Gen is much smoother than this microphone. This is a little bright slanted. It's almost like you get the Rode NT1 4th Gen and you literally add like high pass filter like 4 times. Then you're going to get this. This is how it sounds like to me. It's a little bit too bright, or bright-ish compared to the 4th Gen. All right, so this is the Rode NT1A, not to be confused with the NT1 5th Gen or the NT1 4th Gen or the NT1 Signature Edition. So this microphone is a little bit more bright slanted by quite a bit, and it also makes my voice sound slightly higher pitched, but it definitely sounds sharper when I listen with my headphones. So I don't like this one, but this is the NT1A. It's discontinued. Thank goodness. All right, so this is the Teenage Engineering CM15, and this is how the audio sounds. So this is actually a XLR. Well, it's connected via XLR. There's a mini XLR port, and it's being connected to XLR. And this thing is, that is portable as it gets. But in my opinion, this is good. Like, this is actually pretty damn good in terms of like